Welcome to the Korea Pro Podcast, your weekly guide to understanding the most pressing and complicated developments shaping South Korea. We're your hosts, Jeongmin Kim,
John Lei,
and Joon Ha Park of Korea Pro.
Go beyond headlines as we explain not just what happened, but also what really matters and why it matters.
If you monitor South Korea for work or just trying to keep up, you're in the right place.
This is the Korea Pro Podcast.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the Korea Pro Podcast. We are recording a little bit later than usual. It is now Thursday, October 23rd, 6 p.m.
And let's start with economic news. Bank of Korea, they did the big announcement.
It was so shocking. No one expected this. It just came out of the blue.
Which was
that the BOK governor announced that the BOK would keep interest rates the same, the third time around, at 2.5%. Shocking everybody.
Yes, everybody actually expected that. And what's the implications of that?
The implications was that, well, firstly, the bond yield markets did tick up just a wee bit, but besides that, the equity market stayed the same, which shows you that, everyone saw this coming. The governor himself had already telegraphed his moves days in advance, and so the markets already had prices all in. Now, the reason why this interest rates were kept the way they were, it was quite obvious. Firstly, the won is extremely weak, which means that energy imports are going up. Inflation is still at 2%, but it could go up. But the bigger thing right now is that the BOK is really aligned with the South Korean government, especially with real estate policies. For those of us who've been paying attention, on October 15th, the South Korean government had a really big real estate policy where they included basically all of Seoul and parts of Gyeonggi province as part of this area where you cannot engage in real estate speculation. And so because the BOK wants to make sure that it's aligned, in fact, Governor Lee Chang-yong had said that he doesn't wish to inject more liquidity to fuel the speculative bubble. And so it was kept at 2.5%. So that was the real big reason. Now, it could be argued that the BOK shouldn't really be considering real estate prices in its interest rate policies, but it is what it is.
But what might be the next window of opportunity for the interest rate to go down again?
It will not go down anytime this year. The next meeting is going to be on November 27th. I don't think it's going to be cut even then because right now, besides everything else that we just talked about, there's also the matter of the $350 billion investment that South Korea has pledged to make. Now, South Korea and the United States have not yet reached an agreement, but it's going to be a matter of time before they do. And when they do, $350 billion in one way or another is going to leave the South Korean market. That's a huge FX market dump, basically. And so if that happens, what international investors are going to think about is South Korea is able to maintain fiscal discipline going forward. And right now, fiscal discipline and monetary discipline have to go hand in hand because besides all of that, there's also the fact that the South Korean government had these two massive cash voucher programs. And so right now, the Bank of Korea is having to play bad cop to the South Korean government's good cop.
And speaking of BOK, they have been actually very busy this week. There was this a couple of exclusives from different media outlets internationally that China is looking for potentially three-way currency swap with Japan and South Korea. And then BOK came out to say...
denied it.
They were like, they never told us.
Yeah.
And then there were some military-related news this week as well. North Korea fired what JCS initially said were probably ballistic missiles, multiple. And then they were like, but it did not land in the East Sea. We cannot share more details. And then we were like, so that means it landed inland. And then they just really did not comment on it. And this morning, North Korea said that it was a hypersonic glide vehicle, which is Hwasong 11 Ma. But for more information about this, check out nknews.org. And then aside from that, were there any military or domestic developments this week that's worth noting?
Right. So just speaking of ballistic missiles while we're on the subject, so the ROK Jangyangsil, a 3,600-ton submarine, it was launched just yesterday by DAPA, the Defense Acquisition Program Administration, and the ROK Navy by the Hanwha Ocean Shipyard. So it's South Korea's most advanced submarine to date. As I said, it has a 3,600-ton weight. It also has expanded SLBM capabilities, which are submarine launch ballistic missile capabilities. So while we had About 3 of these 3,000-ton submarines come out from the Batch-I of the current project. This is the first in line of the Batch-II project. And basically, they've gone from a vertical launch system which carries these ballistic missiles from the submarine launches from 6 tubes to 10 tubes now, which increases the possibility of a preemptive strike and also just retaliatory strike capabilities.
So what's the main difference between the older versions and this new one?
Right. So the older version had lead-acid batteries, which does have good endurance underwater, but still not as much as the lithium-ion batteries that this one has. So the lithium-ion batteries that allows for more longer endurance with underwater capabilities, going from 2 to 3 weeks as compared to the 1 to 2 weeks beforehand. And then it also reduces the detection risks that come from if a North Korean radar or a sensor picks up or a North Korean maritime patrol aircraft picks up the South Korean submarine. It has much more capability to maneuver underwater.
Are there any other submarines under development after this?
Right, so the Batch-II series will continue. So there are 2 more that are expected from the Batch-II series, as was the first Batch-I. It's not decided whether or not these submarines will be coming out in the near future. Of course, the Changyeong that I just mentioned will be going under operational tests and then be operationalized to the submarine command, I believe, the task command, in 2027.
The speed of these submarines are usually the main pain point for the officers who are actually operating underwater. There always is this up and down in like topics regarding nuclear submarines sometimes in South Korea. Is this topic not, did it die down right now? Like, is anyone talking about it in the National Assembly?
Well, the first topic of nuclear submarines came out in the 90s, but of course we've seen a number of conservative politicians and even progressive politicians come out with the nuclear submarine pledge. But of course, it's only so much to make a pledge and seek approval from the United States and also from South Korea's main ally, which is the United States, what I just said. So I think the nuclear submarine project is still something that South Korea needs to pursue, but right now they're just looking for these submarines to go ahead.
Before I ask you to touch on more developments related to domestic politics, John, just very quickly, I will mention this in the weeklet a little bit, but one of the things that is on South Korean media radar for next week's APEC summit and the sideline meetings is U.S. and South Korea may finally update the 123 agreement, the nuclear energy deal. How much are South Koreans basically talking about this right now?
Well, this is a pretty big deal right now. Now, you're going to see a lot of noise about this subject. If you read newspaper editorials, if you listen to these pundits and talking heads, they're all going to be talking about how this is going to help improve South Korea's nuclear latency, which refers to the ability to acquire nuclear weapons.
Although technically this is for commercial use for nuclear power plants.
That's exactly it. This entire nuclear latency talk is really just bunk. Because in order to have nuclear latency, you need to be able to enrich uranium up to about 90%. And this agreement that is being talked over between the U.S. and South Korea right now is going to allow South Korea to enrich uranium up to 20%. Now, this is great for civilian uses. It's going to allow South Korea to enrich uranium so that it no longer is a stockpile as nuclear waste in front of their nuclear reactors all the time. It will be able to power more of their cities. And so this is great news for the civilian side and for industries. But is it really going to be one step forward for nuclear latency? Bunk.
Although almost all media editorials right now are linking that to nuclear latency. But let's see what actually happens next week and how South Korean government officials actually frame it. I doubt they will go anywhere near it.
They are dumb.
Anything else from South Korean domestic development this week?
Right, so we've got, it's mostly quite military related, seeing as the Arms Expo, the ADEX, is right now very much still on. It's running until Friday, I believe, which is when this podcast will come out. But of course, on the sidelines, we've had a lot of deals and MOUs with different European nations and also some Middle Eastern nations regarding their acquisition of South Korean weaponry and also South Korea's cooperation and helping with that acquisition. So the main thing that came out from the sidelines, which was just today, was Defense Minister An Gyubek was meeting with the Estonian delegation that came to South Korea for the ADEX, and they signed an MOU helping out with the Eastern European countries' acquisition of K239 Chunmoo systems, which is key part of South Korea's kill chain system, preemptive strike system. It's basically it's a multiple rocket launcher system that operates in South Korea's front lines. And it was basically an agreement to actively support Tallinn's procurement process, and also Estonia has sought to modernize its military with the Chunmoo systems, taking note after Poland. So it is considering adopting this system within a very close and near future. He also met with the Polish Parliamentary Defense Committee chairman and his delegations on the sidelines of the ADEX, emphasizing continued cooperation, especially regarding the Polish Orca submarine project, which South Korea's Hanwha Ocean, among other manufacturers, have been competing to be the main player in that role.
And lastly, Takaichi, the Japanese new prime minister, apparently loves South Korean K-drama and other things. What were the other things that she mentioned? She did a first press conference.
Dried seaweed.
Dried seaweed.
Indeed.
And something else.
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics. K-cosmetics. So the question was about historical grievances, and then she was like, oh, I actually love Korean stuff, was her answer.
Lowered expectations.
Yeah, but then like it does look like she is trying to look a little bit more moderate since like she was elected. It seems. Is this an ongoing trend? Do you think, Juna?
It's only a question of how far she actually carries it out. Her government has, or her current cabinet has seated individuals, especially the education minister, who has had quite a history of historical revisionism related to Japanese imperial history. Regarding its sort of expansionist claims during World War II, and also her visits to, or her claims to visit the Yasukuni Shrine during her premiership have been very much sort of hushed. But of course, in the near future, we still have to see how she handles dynamics with South Korea's Lee Jae-myung, and also dynamics with Trump going forward. But I highly doubt that Takaichi has the political leverage to actually go ahead with her historical revisionist stance, hence why she's given a very sort of blasé remark within her press conference regarding South Korean cosmetics yesterday.
Yeah.
Looking to stay informed about South Korea's fast-evolving political, business and cultural landscape? Join us on Korea Pro, the go-to resource for in-depth analysis expertly curated by top-tier professionals. And now you can pick the membership level that best suits your needs, thanks to our new subscription packages. Starting at just $199 annually, you can access daily analysis and our weekly podcast. Or try our premium membership package, which offers additional perks such as executive briefings, monthly reports and forecasts, networking receptions and event opportunities, as well as much, much more. To find the best fit for you, just head to signup.koreapro.org and become a member today.
Ahead, what do we have to monitor for next week?
Next week will mark the third anniversary of the October 29, 2022 Itaewon tragedy, which claimed more than 150 lives, mostly young people. A memorial service is set to be held in downtown Seoul on that day, which is next Wednesday, I believe, in the evening, where some prominent politicians are expected to attend as well to pay their respects.
And I imagine for Lee Jae-myung to attend in person, it would be actually symbolically important, but would he be able to go, actually?
Well, that's the schedule that we're about to get into. Trump's schedule very much sort of clashes with the Itaewon Memorial Service. I'm sure that if Lee Jae-myung is not present, of course, he will probably give a video speech or even have a speech delivered by the Prime Minister. But it will be something symbolic for him to go.
Right, he will need to juggle that. And speaking of which, I will just do a very quick rundown of what to really watch for. I published a much, much, much longer cheat sheet on koreapro.org, so check it out. Basically, this is South Korea's first APEC hosting in 20 years. The U.S. visit, the most likely window, and I think this is quite confirmed now, actually. It's October 29th to 30th, and the Lee-Trump summit will likely be the October 29th. And then October 30th, it looks like this is the only opportunity for Xi, Chinese president, and Trump to actually be able to be in Gyeongju together. So I imagine if they meet, that would be the window of opportunity to meet. And for the U.S.-South Korea summit, it will be not just the nuclear energy package that we just mentioned, but also tariff issues, of course. And some people, many experts and also like diplomatic sources, they are also speculating based on like some movements that we do spot that Trump might want to attempt at visiting the DMZ to be in contact with Kim Jong-un. But this is really speculation because it seems like there is no appetite from North Korea's and to actually reciprocate for this. Xi Jinping visit likely, reportedly, is October 30th to November 1st. And it looks like the focus mostly is the industrial diplomacy. There would be a lot of very high level, very important industry leaders coming in to Gyeongju and then staying in Seoul, I think, later for more meetings as well, including CATL leader, and others who will meet with Hyundai, SK, LG, so on and so forth, for semiconductor batteries and other deals potentially. Japan. Actually, Trump is visiting Japan first. So Takaichi will meet Trump in Tokyo first, and then Trump will fly here. Takaichi is expected October 30 to November 1st, and this would be, if she does come, it will be her first overseas trip since taking office. So it's kind of symbolic, right? Lee Jae-myung visiting Japan first ahead of the U.S. sort of thing, and presidential office will probably frame it like that. Other APEC member states, it's really quite unclear who's coming or not. It seems like all all economic and trade foreign minister levels are being dispatched.
I believe Carney is expected to come.
Carney's expected, but not confirmed. And then there are like a whole bunch of people, including the CEO summits, 1,700 people, most important people I did note in my cheat sheet. So go check it out.
And all of this information will be sent to your email inboxes by 2 p.m. on Monday afternoon via the Week Ahead newsletter. So if you'd like to know more, please subscribe. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in.
If you want to know more, sign up for our daily executive briefings. We'll brief you on all you need to know from the past 24 hours and why it matters, delivered to your inbox every morning.
If you want to stay ahead of the curve, sign up for Korea Pro to get a full package of insights, from daily expert analysis to profiles, month in review, week ahead, and more.
And until next time, I'm Jeongmin Kim.
I'm Joon Ha.
And I'm John Lee, and we'll see you next time on the Korea Pro Podcast.